is rising. It's time for the magic in me to shine. I'm feeling alive.
Welcome to the Saratoga Springs Preservation Foundation's annual Historic Homes Tour. I'm Samantha Bosshart, the Executive Director of the Foundation, and on behalf of the Board of Directors and staff, I thank you for joining us this weekend to explore the beautiful architecture and rich history of Saratoga Springs. For over 4 decades, the Saratoga Springs Preservation Foundation has promoted the preservation and enhancement of the architectural, cultural, and landscaped heritage of Saratoga Springs through education, advocacy, technical assistance, and restoration projects. The proceeds from the Historic Homes Tour, our largest annual fundraiser, underwrites our mission. We are happy to carry on more than 30-year tradition of hosting tours of historic homes. We will take a look inside beautiful historic residences, highlight architectural details, as well as the history of the interesting people who lived in them. We are thrilled to be able again to offer a virtual tour, thanks to Derek Alquist of Green River Pictures, and the in-person and virtual tour would not be possible without the owners of these beautiful historic buildings who graciously opened their doors for the event and the generous support of our honorary co-chairs, Rachel Dunn and Bill McEllen. We appreciate the generous support of our honorary committee members and our corporate sponsors. The Foundation is grateful for our Corinthian level sponsors, Green River Pictures and Saratoga Today. In addition, we appreciate our Ionic level sponsors, the Adelphi Hotel, Adirondack Trust Company and Amshire, Blue Devil Racing Stable, Bonaccio Construction, Julie & Co. Realty, and New York Racing Association, as well as our Doric level sponsors and Tuscan level sponsors. Sit back and enjoy the tour with our friend, board member, and local news anchor, Julia Dunn, who will give you a tour of 65 Fila Street, the Alexander A. Patterson House, which is the Saratoga Springs Preservation Foundation's current rehabilitation project.
Alexander A. Patterson was an Irish immigrant whose listed professions included builder, architect, and later owner of the Patterson Mineral Spring Pavilion, located at 22, 24, and 26 Fila Street. He built this home in 1851. It was originally constructed in the Greek Revival style, featuring a gable roof and a front door with sidelights and transom above, similar to the house across the street at 64 Fila Street. Typical of many historic homes in Saratoga Springs, it was remodeled most likely in the 1870s into the popular Italianate style. That was when the roof was changed to a hip roof and an ornate, full-width porch was constructed with turned wood columns and balustrade. The Patterson family remained in the home for 90 years. Alexander Patterson was buried in Green Ridge Cemetery, where he has a large memorial. Back then, often a temporary grave marker was made until the larger memorial was completed, and these markers were often returned to the families and used as property markers. It is believed that was the case with Alexander A. Patterson, as a stone with his name engraved was found near the rear of the property along the property line. Following the Patterson ownership, it was a Jewish summer residence for several decades. Serving as a Jewish boarding house, the rooms were divided into small rooms, many having individual sinks. A mikvah, a Jewish ritual bath, was constructed towards the rear of the property. In 1998, the foundation included 65 Fila Street and 69 Fila Street on its inaugural endangered property list due to their poor condition. In 2002, 65 Fila Street was purchased for $125,000 by the same owners who acquired 69 Fila Street in 1994 for $41,000. Not only did they fail to maintain the structures and removed architectural features and portions of the buildings as they deteriorated, but they also made inappropriate temporary repairs. In 2021, the owners sought to demolish both structures. The Saratoga Springs Preservation Foundation vocally opposed the owners' proposals to demolish both buildings to construct new buildings. While the proposed demolitions were being reviewed by the Design Review Commission, the foundation received widespread support throughout the community to preserve the two buildings, many placing "Save Our Historic Buildings" signs in their yards. While under consideration by the Design Review Commission, now called the Design Review Board, which is charged with preserving the historic, architectural, and cultural resources of Saratoga Springs, the owners withdrew their application to demolish 69 Fila Street because they sold it to owners who plan to restore it. The new owners of 69 Fila Street have undertaken an extensive rehabilitation of the Italianate-style house that was built in 1851 by Robert Hunter, who was a mason. From 1855 to 1933, the house was the residence of Reverend Hawley, who established the orphanage, the Hawley House, that was located at 64 Ludlow Street. It is amazing to see the progress that they have made. They have taken great care to preserve as many of the original features as possible. The foundation is excited to see them move into their new home in the upcoming weeks. In March of 2021, the Design Review Commission unanimously denied the proposal to demolish 65 Fila Street. On May 21, 2021, Mark Haworth, an investor and member of the foundation, assisted the foundation with the purchase of 65 Fila Street by providing the necessary low-interest financing for the property. The intent of the foundation taking ownership was to remove the challenges associated with the property, complete environmental remediation, interior demolition, structural stabilization, and exterior restoration, so that a future owner could complete the interior and be a good steward of the home. Beyond preserving the architecture and history of the building and removing challenges for future owners, the foundation sought to remove the long-standing blight to the neighborhood, prevent the property from being a further drain on the city's resources, and once the rehabilitation is completed, increase property tax revenue to the city, providing important support for police, fire, schools, and infrastructure improvements. Since 2021, the foundation has worked tirelessly. The original horsehair plaster walls had to be removed due to the significant water damage and to investigate the condition of the structure. Before the plaster walls were removed, samples of the various surviving wallpapers were preserved. With the plaster removed, you can see the construction of the building and the hand-hewn beams. The original Greek Revival woodwork in the front rooms that remained was retained. The large furnace that had asbestos was removed from the basement. The structural stabilization largely centered around the east extension where the roof had collapsed, causing the interior walls and the floor to collapse. A new concrete slab was poured, and a new floor, wall, and roof structure was constructed within the existing exterior walls of the east extension. The exterior restoration included installing new standing seam metal roofs for the main structure and front porch, as well as a new EDPM roof for the east extension. Restoring the cornices, decorative brackets, the original 6/6 and historic 2/2 windows, a total of 25 windows. Much to the foundation's surprise, replacing very little siding. Scraping, priming, and painting the exterior in historically appropriate paint colors that were selected by those who voted at last year's Historic Homes Tour. Rebuilding much of the structure of the front porch, installing new beadboard stained ceiling and mahogany decking. Restoring the original columns and turned wood balustrades that had been removed. And last but not least, restoring the beautiful chestnut front door and original hardware that had many layers of paint. The prior owners were required by the court to remove the rear additions to the main structure of the house because of the poor condition. The foundation replaced the panels on the rear of the house in anticipation of a future owner wanting to construct an addition. One of the final touches is the lattice that Saratoga Joinery, a community woodworking shop with a mission to make woodworking accessible to all, built as their first community project. The foundation also recently did an extensive cleanup and site work of the property.
It It has been an amazing transformation. It would not have been possible without the generosity of hundreds of donors and countless contractors, volunteers, and suppliers who contributed their money, time, expertise, and materials. The total amount raised for the project through cash contribution and in-kind donations is more than $450,000. The foundation is grateful to each and everyone who believed in the project and supported it. Everyone who gave to this project is not just investing in this project, they are investing in a future project because all the net proceeds from the sale of 65 Fila Street will be earmarked for another project that will benefit the city.